Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, the Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. How is it going out there? Let's come on in and feed these ducks. Good morning, Latasha. You're in bright and early this morning. Love you too. It's good to have you back. We've missed you. All right, so let's get Brandon in as well so he can groove to these ducks. Good morning, Brandon. How's it going?
Good morning.
All good over there?
How you doing, Mama?
Good. So y'all say hello as you come in. I see you coming in. Say hello so that we can get this Friday going. Happy Friday. Where's my Miss Brenda? Good everything, everyone. Happy Friday to all. Miss Brenda, where's the Friday? Come on now. You can't be switching it up on us. Miss Ollie says you can't be sneaking us.
Can't be sneaking us.
No, you can't be sneaking us. But good
How are you,
morning.
Mama? How are you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Even if you
So,
did, it wouldn't help, would it?
yes, it wouldn't
That's
happen.
what I always say.
Yeah. Right. All right. So let's get this party started. Let's see. Barbecue. I said party, y'all. Happy Friday,
It is
everyone.
Friday.
Brenda changed it. Yeah. We need that Friday, Miss Brenda. Monique jumps in. Good morning, everyone. Cousin
What's up,
Monique
cuz?
from Georgia as well. We got Georgia in the house. So let's do it, Brandon. Let's do
Got
it.
my coffee.
Y'all haven't had coffee. You know.
What?
Mm-mm. I held on to the bed till 6:30. So
Oh, wow.
I'll get it when I'll get it and take it with me.
Okay.
Yeah, got some water though.
Oh, good. That's even better. I should have had that first, but that
Yeah.
coffee smelled too good. When we get up, my wife go ahead and make the coffee, and I smell it, and it's like that Folgers commercial, you know. You smell it, and you just start getting up. So
Yeah, good to the last drop.
there we go. Well,
All right.
welcome everybody. Thank y'all for joining us this morning. Looks like it's just starting to get daylight outside here in Memphis, Tennessee. Hope the day's coming well. The start of the day is going well for you all, wherever you are. Let us know where you're from, who you are. Say what's up. We are here today to get motivation and encouragement for the day. So we are reading through Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. Please go out and get that book and support this great Black author who's given us so much to pull from, many insights, things to help us along our way. And like we said earlier, encouragement and inspirations and motivations. So a little bit more about this book. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, the author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know exactly when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. So this treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, and what it teaches will last a lifetime. Last you a lifetime. So again, thank you guys for rocking with us on this, 200 and almost 70 days, 267 days of doing this In This Season podcast. So let us know, what season are you in? Has this been helping? Remember to invite people to the show. Make sure that you like the video on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We need to get our channel subscriptions up and our viewership up on YouTube. So please, every now and then, go over there and just check out a couple of those videos. If you've missed one, make sure you go back on YouTube and catch it, and catch up to us today. So today, Mom, which one are we reading? Are we reading the? Hmm?
The
Oh, go ahead. You got
267th,
something?
I'm sorry. I was going to ask you to read
Conservative.
the top part. Yeah. Read if there's any, again, I
Got you.
really can't
Got you.
see it at all. If there's any power that
Right.
can
So
reverse.
Mom likes this one, y'all. It says, if there's any power that can reverse the fortunes of race, it is character. And that's Dennis Kimbro. And he also said that every thought which enters our mind, every word we utter, every deed we perform, makes its impression on the innermost fiber of our being. That part, right, Mama?
That part. That one right there.
That one right there.
That
So that alone is good
That's the
encouragement
plate
for the
that
day.
holds the food for the barbecue. Like that's the plate that we put the food on. That's in the center of the plate. We've
Mm,
engraved it in.
wow. So let's see where we are today. The Conservative Party. The Conservative Party. What a time. And Jimi Hendrix, the famous late guitarist Jimi Hendrix said, I don't give a damn what others say. It's okay to color outside the lines. Again, I don't give a damn what others say. It's okay to color outside the lines. Many of us bristle like porcupines if anyone dares to tell us what to do. We're insulted by the very idea that we need advice or guidance of any kind. Allow ourselves to be bossed around? Never. Thank you very much, but we'll make our own decisions. Yet the vast majority of us are followers at heart. Our dress, talk, tastes, and habits are almost always styled by the dictates of one group or another. If our need to fit in, or in our need to fit in, we have formed and shaped ourselves very carefully to be, quote, a part rather than a part.
Hmm.
You get that?
Yeah.
In our need to fit in, we have formed and shaped ourselves very carefully to be a part rather than a part. Business executives and college professors may criticize the peer pressure that has young people wearing unlaced gym shoes and starter jackets. This is definitely the early 90s. But what of all those pinstripe suits and wingtip shoes marching in the lockstep? What of all those ruffled tweed jackets and baggy wool sweaters? Isn't that conformity? Are we afraid to break out of the pack?
Hmm.
In a sense, we all conform. And to a degree, we are all conservative. Most of our waking hours are spent following guidelines that are not of our own making. We go along to get along, keeping pace with our associates as best we can. The fact that we do conform is unquestionable. To ask ourselves why we so hotly proclaim otherwise is the real question in our search for greater self awareness. I'll read that again. To ask ourselves why we hotly proclaim otherwise is the real question in our search for greater self awareness. So, proclaiming that we don't conform is the real question in our search for greater self awareness. And our affirmation for today is, I may follow the crowd in terms of dress and style, but not in terms of my thinking. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. A lot to think about there, a lot to unpack. So, Mom, I'll pass the suitcase to you. You go ahead. You can go ahead and unpack it first.
And I'm going to pass this suitcase back to you
Why?
because because this is yours. This is yours right here. I mean, I get it, but this is yours. Plus, you were out yesterday, so let me
I was
rest.
listening. Let's see. She told me to
Hey,
relax, y'all. She
Hey,
told me that. She set me up. You trying to sneak me. That's what it is. Let me open my book back up. But no, that's fine. The Conservative Party. So,
wow.
starting with the title, right? Many of us, as African Americans in the last 30, 40 years, I'll say 30 years, um, Black support uh, uh, for the Democratic Party, which is considered the more liberal party, uh, has been high, right? It's been very high. It's almost to where, where you have people saying, you ain't black. You ain't black. And these are politicians, white politicians, saying, you ain't black if you don't vote Democrat or if you don't vote for me, right? I think this was Joe Biden that said that. You ain't black if you don't vote for me, right? So to feel so entitled to our vote. And so I think that's one of the reasons this is titled Conservative Party, because we, as a whole, especially during the 90s, uh, have have already assigned and agreed, hey, we are a part of this party as a group. By and large, the majority during this time, and then the last elections, of course, voted for the Democratic Party. And so to say it's almost especially back then, it's a little bit less now, but back then to say that you were a part of the Conservative Party usually meant uh, that you were Republican, which was different than kind of our crowd, right? So I just thought that was interesting. And then the line from Jimi Hendrix said that I don't give a damn what others say. It's okay to color outside the lines, right? So I think it's priming us to be open-minded about creative thinking and about why we do or why we don't subscribe to whatever conformities or whatever has been normalized in our community. But that first line of the actual description that says that many of us bristle like porcupines if anyone dares to tell us what to do. So I think in many situations we like to think that our decisions are all our own, right? The way that we form and make decisions or even think about what's going on in our lives or how we approach different subjects, whether it be social, political, even sports to a certain degree. You know, what you black and you like cricket? You like to play cricket? It seems outside of the not the realm of possibilities, but outside the realm of probability. Oh, you black and you play soccer? Oh, you black and you want to be a you want to play. I mean, it's a little less now, but it used to be like tennis, right? Until the sisters came along, Serena and Venus. And that's why, look at Tiger Woods with golf. Everyone's looking at, oh, the black version of this, the black version of that. Like these are our first. But boy, you say, man, I want to be an NBA player or a football player. That seems to be, oh yeah, that's normalized, right? So as much as we want to say that we don't conform, there are parts of our culture, the parts of, where we're raised, the people around us that kind of put us into these sections. I won't say these boxes, but these sections where in our communities, it's more accepted to be a part of these groups, to dress a certain way, to think a certain way, to talk a certain way. I remember being in high school and kids saying that they didn't want to be in the honors classes. Black kids, African Americans say, I don't want to be in the honors classes. That's where all the white kids are. I don't want to be in the AP classes. That's where all the white kids are, right? But it's even bigger. And of course, you guys understand the dysfunction there, that education isn't a white thing, or knowledge in a sense isn't a white thing or a black thing. It's a human thing. And the only stratification there, or who's better or who's worse, is the person more knowledgeable, or the person that is seeking knowledge and taking advantage of those opportunities, as opposed to the person who's sitting on their laurels and not taking advantage of those opportunities. But even in that, there are many reasons why uh, an African American might not be as excited about school, with systemic racism, even inside of our education system, that might not be as excited to go to school as their white counterparts. But getting to more of the meat of why are we like that? Why do we want to make ourselves so different? And in doing something different, we're still in the in crowd, right? What is it about us? Like that last question that asked, what is it about us that doesn't recognize the fact that as a human species, that conformity is an adaptive quality that has helped us survive, right? If everybody went right, that's in the tribe on this journey to find water, and you go left, you are more susceptible to injure yourself. You're more susceptible for some animal, some predator to chase you. You're easy pickings. You could step on something and can no longer walk. There's just a degree of safety that is lost by not going with the in crowd. And so that's an adaptive quality. So now in modernity, where we have, we're not as afraid of dying by these I would say natural causes, but causes from nature. We don't have those same fears, but we still have the same natural instincts and impulses to follow the in crowd. It's safer there. It's more acceptable. I will have camaraderie there because other people are experiencing and accepting the same paradigm that I've accepted. But what we have now, like for example, we have a situation where this postmodern society, to where we have these leisures, we have the ability to do something different. We have the ability to not just focus on survival and reproduction, right? How do we survive? How do we reproduce and keep our children alive, right? Children are staying alive at birth, higher than they used to back in the old days. Do you know that more people have lived and died, right, than we often really think about, because of the infant mortality rate? It was normal, 200 years ago. If you had 5 kids, that at least 2 of them would die. That was a normal thing, right? 200 years ago. And now it's more normal that if you have a child, that you would raise that child into adulthood. So but we still have these instincts of, I need to do what everyone else is doing because that is better for my survival. But we will still say, I do things differently. We still inherently are unique. So what is it about us that proclaims hotly that we do not conform, even though we put on our pants, our shoes? We don't dress like Africans. We dress like Europeans. We dress like a different culture. We dress like this American culture. But all around the world, if you notice, there's cultural garments, right? There's a cultural garment for people of West Africa, a cultural garment for the people of India. There was a cultural garment for, indigenous and Native American people. But now you find a person that's Indian, a person that's African, a person that's Native American, and they all dress up in a white collar shirt, and a nice, some nice slacks and some shoes that we would all recognize. You can't easily differentiate a person's dress by a person's culture by their dress, because we have all, in a sense, started to conform to this one global identity, right? So what I'm finding and what I see out of this is that everyone is pushing for their individuality, to separate themselves. And this is for a number of reasons. This isn't just internally for them, but this is for the dating market. This is for to spotlight them in the career exchange, right? But at the same time, they can't be too extreme, right? Because if you had somebody that was a Harvard graduate, even that is being the weight of the Harvard degree is being lessened. The weight of it is not as much as it used to be. But someone could come in with a Harvard degree for a job, but if their hair was all out of whack, They were wearing, a different color, and it's a man, a different colored nail polish on each finger, right? As a man, two different shoes. You got maybe some Adidas on the left shoe and some Steve Maddens on his right shoe. I'm telling you, this man would not get the job because they'd be like, this guy is crazy. Even if he doesn't say a word, they would think that he's crazy, even though he might be the best person for the job. So even to us, I don't know if you guys, even to us, it would seem weird. Have you guys ever seen? I saw this last week. There was a little dog in Africa that saw a male lion and a female lion sitting there, and the female lion looked at him like, "I know you ain't this close to us. I'm about to eat you." So the female lion gets up and starts trotting towards him and kind of gets down like she's about to pounce on him. And the dog, little dog, looks back at her and goes, just starts barking and trying to snip at her. And she jumps back like, what the heck is this? And the male lion gets up and the little dog goes over to him and starts snipping at him. And the big lions were tamed and scared and literally running away from this dog that ain't even above my knee because it was weird, it was strange, it was outside the norm, right? So when you disrupt this kind of totem pole and paradigm of stratification, as far as like, okay, you do this, Chinese people do this, tall people do this, fat people do that. When you break that, it throws people, predators, it throws them off. Another thing that is interesting is birth order, right? So your birth order actually impacts how quote unquote creative or rebellious you are, right? So the first child is usually the goody two shoes, the one that excels, excuse me, into books, pleases the parents as much as they can, type of things. Whereas, and by the time the second child comes, the parents are a little bit tired, so the child does a few more things. But that first child kind of has any choice that he wants. He can be the smart kid. That child can be the math star, or the sports player. All the boxes or the possibilities of what type of prototypes or archetypes that can be fit are available to you. And then the next child has all those available to them minus one. So as you get down to the fifth child, many of the boxes have been checked, right? But this child has, I was learning this last night, has this impulse to differentiate themselves among their siblings in order to get that affection and that nurturing and that attention from a mother and father who've already gone through four other children. And this usually takes the form of being more creative, sometimes more rebellious, and doing things a different way. So I'm just giving you guys some of the reasons why we might feel more, more hotly, as it described, why we might more hotly say that no, I'm an individual, while we still conserve. And what is it about being about conforming that gives us this sense of insecurity? Could it be that the conformity we know as African Americans is not all pushed by things that we ourselves created, right? Like some of the things that we do didn't come from us. Some of the things that we subscribe to, we actually didn't create from or we don't own. For example, and I'll leave this here. In hip hop, we say that hip hop is a part of Black culture, but none of us own a distribution company. None of us own an actual record label. None of us are financing what the communications and media companies that produce this music. So other people who may not be a part of the culture can say, you're talking about killing, destruction, gangster rap. I like you. Somebody else comes in and says, I'm a king, I'm a queen, Queen Latifah, UNITY, things like that. As of now, there's not a big push of financing those types of artists, right? but that becomes our culture. Oh no, you got to rap about this. You got to do that. You got to speak like this. If you come out with a conscious style or a completely different style, you won't really touch the waves because we don't own them. So I think there's, I don't know, this is just me thinking out loud, but I think that there's an insecurity inside of us when we don't feel like we have ownership of not just ourselves, but what we wear, what we do, what we say. And so we want to be different, but not different enough that moves us outside of the social order. So it's just something for us to think about and to ponder. So that's kind of my big 30,000 foot view of it. It doesn't really bring us anywhere, but it's just something for us to ponder for the future. Why do we feel that we are, one, to go back, our votes are entitled to go to one particular party, right? Without maybe possibly and usually without demanding something in return. Why do we conform, period? And why do we still sense the need to say that we are not conformists when it's obvious that the things that we wear and dress are? But what we can control and what no one can see is our thinking, right? So if you can control your own mind, it somewhat doesn't matter what you wear. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't matter whether your shoes are the latest name brand or whatnot. If you have your own mind, you can make that work for you. I know some people that are minimalists, and some people that are Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Jordan. What are the differences in those two, and where do you fit on that spectrum? Do you have your own mind, or are you only doing it because someone else thinks it's cool? We can look at it now in that book and see most people aren't wearing starter jackets anymore and jumpsuits and sweatsuits. So we know that all of that changes. We don't want our minds to be the same way, to where our minds change, our values, our principles change due to, what's popular culture, because that's not a principle at all. All right. So that's all I got, Mom. Over to you. I'm going to spend 28 minutes.
Whoa, yes, you have. I'm like, okay, okay. But anyway, I'm gonna be quick because I gotta
It's
get
the
out of here.
coffee because I got that coffee in early.
So, the title, the quote, everything is kind of interesting. I feel like there's a couple of twists in here that we need to contemplate on. The Conservative Party. I'll start just at the top so I can flow through, and I won't touch on all that I've planned to, but you guys can contemplate more on it. I think, truth be told, we're all part of the Conservative Party, and all parties are that way because conservative, it says that it's like don't averse to change or innovative and holding traditional values of their own. Their values have sometimes come, most times they came from how they were taught, how they learned, what they experienced. And so we keep going with those same things, never really stopping. Like we talk about generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we continue to have generational curses? Because we continue to make the same generational decisions and have the same generational behaviors. We don't step outside of the box. Then the quote says, I don't give a damn what others say. It's okay to color outside of the lines. It's okay, but do we do it? Or is that just a trickery of the mind? Oh, I don't care. I don't care what you say. I'm going to do what I want to do. But is what you want to do what you should do? Or are you just continuing
Mm.
to do what you saw, to live like you've seen others live, right? Are you coloring outside of the lines? And if you are, is it your own picture? Or are you outside of the lines of someone else's picture? Right? So I think there's a lot to contemplate on and bring back to home. It says, many of us bristle like porcupines if anyone dares to tell us what to do. We're insulted by the very idea that we need advice or guidance of any kind. That's part of what's wrong with the world today, right? We don't want to listen. We don't want to entertain the idea that we just might need some advice. And who are you to tell me what to do? You know? Who are you to give me some advice? Get your life together. Sometimes people can give you advice because they've lived it. They've seen it. They're a bit more experienced in that area. And then there's someone that can give them advice for that same reason. So I think it's letting us also see ourselves. Like, you talk a good game, right? But you live in the game of the world. Whatever comes out, you want. The world decides on, will help you decide on what you want and need. As Brandon said, that it changes daily, because some of the things that were in fashion then, you don't even care about them anymore. If you saw something, you used to love them, but if you see somebody with them on today, you think, well, you whack, man, that's been out of style. No, been out of your style. Been out of your style. I still put my wide leg jeans on and think I'm fine. I never forget, I was in the store one day, y'all, and guy came in, he tried to check me. I had on my wide leg jeans because I love them. He was like, you wearing the wide leg jeans, ain't you? Like, as to say, and we laughed about it. Like, yeah, because I like them. I like them. You know, don't let the wind be able to pick you up and take you where it wants you to go. And it ain't even a tornado. It's just a little light wind. But it picks you up. Why? Because you're not grounded in who you are. You don't know what you want. You don't know what you need. And that's why when things change, you change. When people change, you change. When you're around Bobby Joe, you're different. You're around Susie Joe, you're different. Why? Why? But you play the game. I can call outside the lines. I don't give a damn what people say. If you didn't, you wouldn't conform to the patterns of this world. And I'm going to get ready to leave it right there. Be ye transformed, right? It says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you know my perfect will for you, right? Outside of God, you don't know. You are of the conservative party. You want what you want, but don't even know what you want. Don't know what you need. Don't know what you should do. Right? Because God says, I'll supply your needs. We've talked about what you ought to do, you should do. And guess what? What you ought to do, you should do. And you can do it because that's what you ought to do. And it doesn't mean that's the same thing I need to do. We're all traveling the same road, but we don't have to be dressed alike. We don't have to have on Nikes, and all of us don't have on the Nike shoes, the baby shirts. All of us don't need the red bottom shoes, the purses, right? We don't. Get to a place where enough is enough, where your needs have become, your wants have become your needs. You're not outside always searching for something that is right inside of you, right? Because that's what keeps you grounded. When you know that you know that you know who I am, who are you, and whose are you, right? Because you cannot please a conservative party, an individual party, you can't please a party that is not pleased himself. You cannot. So I just think it gives us many, many things here. It tells us, yet the vast majority of us are followers at heart. Y'all, we are. Our dress, our talk, our taste, our habits, right, are always styled by the dictates of one group or another. What's your group? Who's your group? And why? Because it breaks it down at the end. Most of our waking hours are spent following guidelines that are not of our own making. We go along to get along. Oh, that's a whole nother show right there. We go along to get along, just for a minute, right? Because you'll get along in that right there minute, but afterwards, what's the conversation, right? It's no getting along. It's talking about people, talking about the situation to the wrong person often, right? So did I miss this? We go along to get along, keeping pace with our associates as best we can. You fake the funk, right? The fact that we do conform is questionable. We do conform. We are conforming people, society, culture, all that and more. To ask ourselves why we so hotly proclaim otherwise, talk a good game. I don't give a damn what somebody say, right? I don't give a damn what they do. I don't give a damn what they wear. I don't give a damn where they stay. I don't give a damn where they work. Da 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 da. It's okay to color outside of the lines, but do you? Do you even have a coloring book, baby, with some crayons? What color is your crayons, right? What color is your book, right? Who put the things in there that you will color? It gets deep, you guys. So to ask ourselves why we so highly proclaim otherwise is the real question in our search for greater self-awareness, right? When I stopped being foolish and started trying to stop conforming and started transforming, I've said here, things that I didn't like, I started to like as far as food, things I wanted to do, used to want to do, don't want to do no more. The things I wanted, don't even find value in them anymore because they were feeding a woman who was lacking in her own very self-awareness. And the only way to get that is become aware of your creator, God. And that's why that verse says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's where Brandon led us to at the very end of his. He took it back to the mind. Because truth be told, Brandon, it's about you. All that you do, all that you think, all that you are, all that you wear, the things you desire, it's about you. It's about you. But on the other side, it's not about you because you've conformed, right? You desire the ways and the patterns of the world, right? You desire the patterns and the ways of the world, but you love your great God, right? Right? How much time do you spend with God versus the world? How much time do you spend with God versus that TV? How many times you're driving in the car and you just talking to God or listening to the radio or talking to someone about someone, right? Or distracted. So y'all, truth be told, we're all part of the conservative party. We want what we want, but we don't know what we want. You could listen at them one day and you don't know if they believed or even remember what they said yesterday. All of them. So that's my 2 cents on it. I had about 10 cents on it, but Brandon took 50% of it.
Well, I had to repay you for giving it back to
I
me.
do it
So
all the time.
I had to give you giving it back to me. I had to put a whole lot on it this time, so you don't do that no more.
This is a good one, y'all. More time for contemplating on
For
your
sure.
own, really, for sure, for sure, for sure. Because there's a lot to unpack there. So find your place, determine where you are in this passage, in this reading today. Where are you? And be honest. Be honest. Don't be this foolishness like I don't give a damn what somebody say. You know, I do what I want to do. I'm my own boss. I pay the costs and all that. Y'all stop. Sometimes, was it yesterday? Yes. Um, was it yesterday? Brandon, you weren't here yesterday, but wasn't yesterday the one that says, oh, the older he grew, the less he said. I'm gonna say, but the more he spoke. Right? Just kind of settle it down. Say less and do more. Because sometimes you'll talk yourself right into situations and right out of
And
situations.
out of opportunities, right?
Right, right. Because the mouth is not speaking from the heart or from your very own conscious self-awareness. It's speaking because you've conformed. So now you have conformed talk, conformed thinking, conformed actions. And so the battle then becomes with yourself. Because it also told us a few days ago, uh, da, 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 da. Let me find it and I'm going to stop right there. We are our constant companion and we are our constant companion and we know better than anyone else what is good for us and what we want and need. You know, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you know. But the battle comes when you start to conform. And then now that conforming is now fighting against what you truly know,
Mm.
that you were created for greatness with purpose. But here you are. Here you are in this foolishness. Here you are. So let's see. Let's read these. Brandon, do you have anything else? And if not, I'll
Nope.
read these comments.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm all good.
Let's see. It feels like they just kind of jumped in here. Look the comments. So Big Mike says, "My people move this around. This light's getting in the way. Um, my people romanticize gangsterism. It's in. I think you're saying in our music and etc. etc. Until that and family values change, the people will continue to struggle." Yep, that's true, Mike. Value change. Be the change you want to see, right? And Big Mike says it's cool to be thug in my culture. It's cool to be thug, which Mike is a cover up, right? It's a coverall. It's a coat um, in the summertime, I would say. Y'all think about that. It's a coat in the summertime. There's some meaning to that. Miss
Mm.
Brenda says, Tammy, bell bottom jeans are back in style because of the country music singer Lainey Wilson. I have always loved bell bottom jeans. Me too, me too. And mine never went out of style because I love them. You ain't got to love them. I'm not going to buy what you love. I'm not going to wear what you love. That's crazy to me. So some of that stuff, y'all, I still got most of my clothes from back in the
What's
day.
what's that saying, Mama? What you eat don't make me.
Yeah, what you eat don't make me right. Poop, I
Mm.
guess, and all that.
Mm.
And Big Mike says, we promote ignorance. The smart kid would be called a nerd, but the thug with the name brand clothes would be the cool dude. Y'all, that's kind of like, I remember us as a culture when it's time to go back to school. Man, our parents struggled trying to get us all this stuff. And your wife didn't come back with them same jeans you had on last year before. See, because they're not trying to make up their out. They and for a
They're not
reason,
trying to compensate for
lack
insecurity,
of
a
a self
financial insecurity
right or self awareness.
or
Not
self-awareness.
saying that right because and it not sometimes it doesn't mean you know what I don't want to go there because I'm gonna go I'm gonna get started. I
It's
may
some
talk a
type
little
of
bit.
insecurity, though, right? Like there's some type of overcompensation for because what you really need is clothes. And if you got clothes, what is it that pushes you? Well, I need something new for this year, right?
Yeah, shiny new
that that
object
that
syndrome
you're right. That consumerism is an overcompensation. It's like the
for
it's
how
like
you feel.
the guy that's 5'1" buys a big old truck. You see what I'm saying? It's because there's usually an overcompensation for something that they feel or
They
think
lack.
that they lack,
Right,
right? To
right.
whereas if you're just comfortable in your own skin, I have friends, one in particular, who, in my opinion, as a young man, he didn't come from much, but now, he's saved up in the last couple years, and he's got, you know, 15 to 20 thousand dollars, right? As a young man in his 20s, right? Just saved up and off to the side. And 3 years ago he didn't have it. And this he might dress up one time a month, right? His shoes are still the shoes he normally wears is still falling apart, right? Because he doesn't feel that need to, spend his money to look or to impress people that don't impact his life. Whereas I have other people that I know that as soon as they got a check, boy, they spent that whole thing on things that aren't going to be worth the same amount 2 years from now. So it's like what are we getting out of it? Who are we trying to impress? And what is the opportunity cost? You spend all that money on you spend $1,000 on a suit, and you could have put $1,000 in the S&P 500 and made it $3,000 in a year. You know what I mean? So we're losing out on opportunities, like you said, Mom. We're losing out on opportunities because of not just what we're doing, but what we're not doing, because of a lack of self-awareness and a lack of ability to see further than a week down the line. So does it matter with what you're buying or what you're doing? Does it matter in 9 minutes from now? Will it matter in 9 hours from now? Will it matter 9 days from now? Will it matter 9 years from now? If it checks all of those boxes, then do it. But how soon it doesn't matter should prioritize it in your life, right? If it doesn't matter in 9 minutes from now, why would you spend that much on it? Or why would you overextend yourself in that way? So that's kind of a checkbox, is how important is this? Does it really matter? Or are we emotionally invested in things that don't give us a great return on that investment? So that's all I got, Mama.
Hey, Brandon, the affirmation too, I mean, is one of those, to me, where you talk about cognitive dissonance. I may follow the crowd in terms of dress and style, but not in terms of my thinking. But y'all really read that and feel it. Let it simmer. Because if you're how you do anything is how you're going to do everything. So if the crowd determines how you're dressed and your style, but not my thinking, because isn't that about your thinking?
Right.
Right? Isn't that about your thinking? So take inventory of your life today, every day, you guys. Make these readings so personal that you don't even have time to think about someone else. And then don't be that person when someone who loves you and you know have been there for you and will continue to be there. Don't reject their advice. Right? Don't reject it. Because most times when we reject, when we are offended, let me say this. Don't be offended by it. When people love you and really trying to pour into you, because sometimes they see what you don't because you're in it. You know how they used to say some people stink, but they it's so close to them and they've grown to it till they don't know they stink anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But the other person comes in and they can smell it. You know, come on, y'all. So let's get out of here. Let's get
That
out
was a
of here.
good one. That was a good one. There's some stanky people around. Y'all go take a bath. All right, y'all. That's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us on this 267th day of the End This Season podcast. It's titled The Conservative Party. I think we're gonna get a lot of views on that, because a lot of people are looking. And you know, it's election season, so make sure to get out there and do something about your vote. Make sure your voices are heard. I think it's timely, as there's so much conversation about that with an upcoming presidential election. Which, you know, one thing I could have talked about is where do we go from here, right? Where do we go from here? So just think about that as you go on to the day. The title again, The Conservative Party. Jimi Hendrix gave us our quote today: "I don't give a damn what others say. It's okay to color outside the lines." And he did. He played his guitar upside down and in reverse. So he played left-handed upside down, which is completely opposite of how most people play the guitar. So he learned it completely different and became one of the greatest guitarists of our time. Definitely of the greatest guitarists of his generation. One of them, because there's a lot of good ones. So look at how great he became in his own uniqueness just by doing something a little bit different. And again, our affirmation of the day is: I may follow the crowd in terms of dress and style, but not in terms of my thinking. So, Mom, if you see me walking out looking a little different later, I'm like, well, the conservative party, you know.
No,
So
you know what you tell me? Tell me the Brandon party.
the Brandon party.
Brandon party.
I'm no longer a part of this party, right? The
Yeah.
conservative party. Well, y'all,
Yeah.
that's all we got for you today. Let us know what you think about it. Leave us more comments. It's a great conversation. Let us know if you have any conversations with other people about this particular subject. And we'll see y'all on the show tomorrow. Same time, same place. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, just do us a quick favor and go over to YouTube, like and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, y'all. Love you. Peace.
Come on, y'all know what we got to do. Move on out of here. Groove on. That's a good one. How do you get your groove on? Because y'all know I'm still doing the old thing, right?
Yeah.